Before any major label placements, did you produce for any of the local artists around your area?
I just was kind of like, checking out a couple of different MCs. Like they were, no name guys, but people that I can make beats for, like, you know, um, just a few individuals that nobody would ever know, but you know what I mean. They were rapping at that time, and it gave me a chance to do my thing on the beats. You know what I mean, and see what I could do.
Unfortunately, it's starting to hiss again.
All right, you know what? Let me turn the AC off for now.
Okay, let me just see if that's maybe it.
That's probably what it is because it just came on.
Okay.
It'll go off in a second.
Okay, no problem. Where you at now? Located?
I'm in Vegas.
Oh, you're in Vegas?
Yeah.
How long you been out there?
Gotta have AC out here since
Uh,
21.
Okay, yeah, I know. I went out there one year, like in the wrong month, maybe June or July, and it was terrible.
Yeah, it ain't no joke, man. Give me 1 second, it'll cut off.
No problem, no problem.
I guess it's got to run through the cycle or something because I turned it off.
Yeah, I understand. It's just kind of weird how these microphones pick up every little thing.
Yeah, you know what? There's some kind of little compressor. I wish I had have known that I would have turned that on, and it
Mm,
probably would have blocked that noise out.
right.
There we go.
Yep. All right. I'm gonna ask that question one more time. Before any major label placements, did you produce for any of the local artists in your area?
Just people that I was kind of learning my craft with. Some young people that were just starting to rap, and nothing too serious or anything like that. Um, I actually started working with my boy JH and Father Dom and um, TMD from Capital Tax. Those are some of my earlier artists that I worked with right before major placements, though, and they all ended up getting major placements.
Did anything materialize from your earlier production with those artists, as far as like records or singles coming out?
Yeah, like Capital Tax, we did an album. Um, Father Dom, we did his solo album before he went to Jive, and then I did a single when he was on Jive too. So yeah, those artists actually all got deals.
Right. On that Capital Tax, what do you remember most about working with those guys? And they were pretty much your first major label placement, right?
Uh yeah, yeah, I'd say so. Yeah. I mean, actually, I did do SWV right before that.
Okay.
So SWV might have been the first placement I got, but Capital Tax was basically the first group that I ever produced that got signed.
Okay. Remember what those studio sessions were like working with Capital Tax?
Oh man. Well, we started out working in Berkeley. and a friend of mine, the original Jigga. Um, we started in his garage, and then once we had enough songs ready to go and done, we ended up going down to the studio in San Jose called Tambling Sound, and we started recording down there. So we were taking a long trip from basically from Oakland to San Jose, and we would have long sessions. But we had this material was kind of done and ready, like so. All I had to do was track the beats, and then he would come back and do the lyrics.
Hmm. So,
So yeah, we would do 8 to 12 hours in a session. It was and then have to drive back. It was kind of brutal, but it was worth it,
right.
definitely.
You spoke about SWV earlier. How did you end up linking with them for their debut album?
Well, because we were shopping to Capitol Records at the time, and Kenny Ortiz was one of the guys that was interested in us, and he was at Capitol at that time. But then he ended up leaving Capitol and going to RCA. So when he went to RCA, SWV was the first group that he had signed, and he said, "Hey man, hey, sorry I couldn't sign you over at Capitol, but I got some stuff. I got a group right here with RCA, and I want you to produce a track on this album." So I ended up going up to Sacramento and meeting with them and at Brian Morgan's studio, and me and Brian did a song together that ended up being on their album.
So, also around the time you ended up remixing Eric B. and Rakim's "Casualties of War."
Yep, that was all during those years.
What do you remember
Yeah.
most about working with
Now
those?
the thing about that is that Capital Tax and then my group JH&G, we both got deals at MCA. So now we had the pipeline of MCA artists. So that's where that came in, and they asked me to do a remix for Casualties of War. I also did a remix for Dr. Ice, but it didn't come out.
Mm. What
But
when did
that was around that time, around '92.
were you able to be in? Were you able to be in the studio with Eric B. and Rakim during that
Nah,
run?
nah, nah, because they just sent the reels
Mm.
to me, and I just went into the studio and worked on it. I didn't have contact with them at the time. They were in New York. The label was in LA, so they just sent the reels up to me up in San Jose,
Okay.
and I did it there.
Around '94, you linked with Drew Down. Talk a little bit about your early relationship and working on that album.
Drew down, excuse me, drew down Chris Hicks. Uh, that was his artist, and he wanted me to. I had been working on you know 3 times crazy, and actually, let me see. I gotta remember if that was. I think I did start working on 3 times crazy, but he asked me to work on the. Matter of fact, no. You know what? Lance Spencer brought Chris Hicks over one day, and that's when I did the Drew Down music. And I met Chris and Drew and the Loonies, and all that happened then. So after I did the Drew songs, he actually asked me to do some stuff on the Loonies too. So that's when that came along.
Okay. Talk a little bit about Looney's earlier on, prior to signing their deal.
Well, I met them, they had crazy lyrics. At the time, I felt like, damn, they kind of remind me of a West Coast version of Outkast. And I'd say compared to like some of the stuff I was hearing, they were a little bit of, they had, they had a nice style, and they were a little different. They were gangster, but they were still kind of funny. You know what I mean? Because of their punchlines, they saying some funny shit. So we worked on some of their songs. Um, Five when it was in the batch that we did. Um, what was the other one? Rescue 911. I think that ended up going on Drew's album. And then Put the Lead on You. That ended up going on the Loonies. And then I did some stuff on their EP. Um, I Know the Whole Deal. It's called The Scoop. Um, and then what was it? Damn, these songs. I just think these times. The one with Sugar T. That's all. I don't remember the name of it, but I know I used some Barry White on that one.
Right.
Um, so yeah, and then there was also uh, damn, what was that song called? Man, you taking me so far back. I
Yeah, I
don't
understand.
remember.
Yeah, the album turns 30 years.
Yeah, I'm like, man, damn, what the hell was the name of that song? But I did a few of them on the EP.
Okay. Now, how does Michael Marshall fit into the picture of I Got Five on It?
Well, Mike, I knew Mike from high school, and he had put a record out, and excuse me, he hadn't, he didn't, the record business hadn't been too good to him. Let's just say that. So right after we got out of high school, I kind of started campaigning with him, trying to get him to do music again. And then by the time, I mean, it started like, like 86, 87, right after he had the Rumor single. And, I just was, I knew he had a great voice. So I kept talking to him. Every time I saw him, I was like, Mike, come on, man. Let's do some music together. And, I don't know, maybe he didn't believe in me because, sometimes people don't believe in you until you got a hit.
Right.
So he might have been just kind of like leery. And then finally, we started working on some stuff. And I mean, we had some nice stuff we had back then. Um, and one day we were working on something over at my house in North Oakland. And the Loonies came by with Chris. And that's the day we did five on it. And the Loonies had that chorus, and then Mike just kind of like put the melody on. You put it so it would make sense in key, you know, um, the way the flow of it. He basically copied what they were doing, but he added his little touch on it. And that's the day like we did that, and then I remember I had all the we had all the ideas. I had the music on my computer. I didn't have I wasn't going to track it on the 16 track I had. So we went and had a studio session at Pajamas. I tracked the beat. The Loonies did their vocals. Mike did his vocals. The Loonies came back and heard it, and they were like, damn, it sounds good. All right. And then everybody was like, yeah, this is a hit. This is a hit. And I was like, yeah, it's cool. It's a good song. I didn't know how potent it was going to be, to the rest of the world. So we went and mixed it at Mike Denton's place over at Infinite. And the record ended up coming out in 95, but we had it basically I think we did it at the end of '93, and it was just kind of like we had it in the cuts and waited to put it out when their album came out. They wanted to release the EP and get them a little street buzz first, so they ended up releasing the EP, the Ice Cream Man EP, and that came out and blew up. So I think maybe we probably for about a year. We rocked it for about a year, and then we ended up doing the remix with everybody. So I wasn't actually. I came and mixed it. I was only there for a minute when they were recording their vocals. It was too hectic in the studio. So everybody just recorded their parts where they were, where there was room. And then I came and I mixed it and did some different breaks on it. And, we added a female vocalist in the background. Um, and that's pretty much what happened with the remix. And then that ended up coming out, and that helped it like last for some more years. So at that point, I'm working on Three Times Crazy and um, whatever's coming my way, Sally Cell, a few different things, um, and Sally Cell ended up coming out, and he blew up on It's Going Down Tonight, right? And then I started working with E40 sister, Sugar T, and then E40, and that's when I introduced Kick the Sneak to E40, and they got out on that song "Ring It" with featuring Harm, and that's Harm on the hook, and then Spice One did the other verse. So things are starting to happen.
Right. Now, were you able to tour with the group off of I Got Five on it?
I never, that wasn't my thing, man. I wanted to make music. I knew where my best place was in the studio
Right.
and not on the road. Now I could have went on the road and tried to go meet some other people to get placements, but I've never really been a producer to chase placements. I always like wanted to create my own groups. Three Times was brand new.
Hmm.
I wanted to work with the new and up and coming artists because I felt like, how do you keep it fresh? You know what I mean?
Right. Now, once that song I Got Five on it blows up, how did life for Tone Capone change around that time?
It didn't change that much. I just started getting a few more requests for beats. Different people were calling me and asking me to work with them, and I mean, I did what I had to do. You know what I mean? The work was there.
Right. Also, the same year, '95, you worked with Click on Game Related. What do you remember most about working with those guys and ladies?
Well, one of the things was that the head of New Tribe at Virgin, he actually asked me to give him a song with the Click for the original Gangster soundtrack. So that's when we did Hustle on the Grind. And I like all of them. I like the whole family, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
I had some fun studio sessions with those guys. Every one of them, including Muggsy, Bila, Delon, um, Janelle, and Earl. All of them, and Tanina. The whole fan band.
Right.
So yeah, we would go up to 40's house. He had this studio called the Orange Room, and then when I first went up there, his D Wiz was working up there, and the engineer D Wiz, and his mixing board wasn't working right. So I told him he should, get some new equipment and get Pro Tools and get a whole different setup. So he ended up hiring another guy I used to work with named Andrew Seidel. And Andrew Seidel started working with 40, and you know, he ended up putting in a whole new, creating a whole new studio called the Orange Room, and he got a new board and computer and all the new latest greatest stuff.
Right.